He was born on the 6th of June, 1992 in Mogadishu. He grew up in a country that has experienced more than its share of hardship. He chose football, not as a player, but as an official. The person whose authority on the pitch is the foundation on which every match rests. He worked his way through local football in Somalia. He got onto the FIFA international list in 2018. He became the first Somali referee ever to officiate at an Africa Cup of Nations in January 2024. He refereed the CAF Champions League final. He was named the best referee on the entire African continent for 2025. And he was selected by the world governing body of football from the entire global pool of available officials as one of 52 referees trusted with matches at the 2026 World Cup, the first Somali in history chosen for that role. He arrived at Miami International Airport on the 6th of June. He had a valid visa. He carried his FIFA accreditation. He had the right papers, the right documentation, and a lifetime of work that justified every credential he was carrying. He was questioned for 11 hours. The questioning focused heavily on a terrorist organization he has no connection to. Then he was placed in a holding cell. Then he was put on a flight to Istanbul. He flew home to Mogadishu with nothing to show for everything he had built, except a dignity that nobody in that airport corridor could take from him. What happened next is the story this script is here to tell. Because while FIFA issued a statement and told critics to chill and relax, while the governing body's president offered a hot dog joke and moved on to his next press conference, while the institution that had selected Omar Artan and then failed to protect his ability to be at the tournament was deflecting responsibility to host country immigration processes, something else was happening. In Canada, in British Columbia, in Toronto, in the offices of politicians who had nothing to gain institutionally from speaking up, but who understood exactly what the moment required. And what they said, the specific words they chose, the specific actions they took, is worth hearing in full. Because in the context of everything that has surrounded this tournament, it is the clearest expression yet of the difference between an institution that says it believes in football's values and a country that actually demonstrates them. So, what's really happening here? And why has Canada's response to the Omar Artan story become one of the most significant moments in the entire narrative of the 2026 World Cup? Let's start with the full facts of Artan's situation, because they deserve to be stated completely without compression every time this story is told. Omar Artan is 33 years old. He has been a FIFA-listed referee since 2018. In January 2024, he made history as the first Somali to officiate at an Africa Cup of Nations. In the 2025-26 season, he refereed the second leg of the CAF Champions League final, the first Somali ever to lead a continental final. He was selected to referee at the U20 World Cup in Chile, including the third-place playoff. In 2025, he was named CAF Men's Referee of the Year, the best official on an entire continent. And in early 2026, he was selected by FIFA referee chief Pierluigi Collina as one of 52 officials for the 2026 World Cup, the first Somali in history to receive that call. He had a valid visa, the Somali embassy. He had his FIFA accreditation and all required documentation. He was questioned for 11 hours at Miami Airport, with questions focused on Al-Shabaab, a militant organization that operates in parts of Somalia and that has no connection to Omar Artan, his career, or his travel to a football tournament. He was placed in a holding cell. He was determined inadmissible due to vetting concerns. No specific explanation was given. He was put on a plane. He did not referee a single match at the 2026 World Cup. FIFA's response was precise in its institutional language and devastating in its practical effect. The governing body confirmed he would be unable to train and officiate at the tournament after being denied entry to the United States. It confirmed it is not involved in host country immigration processes. It confirmed a host government ultimately determines who receives a visa and who is admitted. It confirmed his status would not be changed at present. And it confirmed, in one of the few genuinely meaningful decisions the governing body made in response to the situation, that Artan would receive his full tournament fee. Every payment, every bonus, the same compensation as every other World Cup official, despite not officiating a single match. That financial decision matters. It is a formal acknowledgement that what happened was wrong, even if the language surrounding it does not say so directly. And then Canada spoke. David Eby is the Premier of British Columbia. He is the political leader of the province whose city of Vancouver is hosting 7 World Cup matches, including knockout round fixtures. BC Place Stadium in Vancouver is one of the 13 Canadian matches in this tournament. Eby oversees the hosting operation in his province. He went on social media and wrote words that have now been read by millions of people around the world. He wrote that Mr. Artan would be welcomed and celebrated in British Columbia for what he's overcome and where he is today. He said in 4 words that cut through every institutional statement and diplomatic deflection of the preceding days. Let's have him referee in Vancouver. Let's have him referee in Vancouver. Not a press release, not a statement of concern, a direct public invitation from a political leader with the institutional authority to make it meaningful. Eby wasn't performing for a domestic audience. He was making a specific statement about what British Columbia believes, about what Canadian hosting means, and about the contrast between Canada's welcome and the United States' treatment of this man actually represents in practice. Olivia Chow is the mayor of Toronto. Her city is hosting 6 World Cup matches, including Canada's opening fixture against Bosnia and Herzegovina. She released a full formal statement. She said denying entry to Omar Artan, who had earned his place on the world stage through hard work and perseverance, was not right. She said Toronto believes in fairness, inclusion, and giving talent the opportunity to shine. She said he would be welcome to referee here. And then she went one step further. She said she would be writing to FIFA to let them know he is welcome to referee here. She didn't just express support, she committed to institutional action. A letter from the governing body, from a mayor of a host city, formally requesting that a specific official be assigned to matches in her jurisdiction. Merritt Stiles, Ontario's opposition leader, echoed both of them. She posted that Omar Artan had earned his place on the world stage. With matches coming to Toronto, she said, let's make sure he is welcome to referee at field. 3 Canadian leaders, 3 separate statements, all published within hours of each other, all saying the same thing to the same institution. You had the right man. You couldn't protect him. We will. Here's the interesting part. Because the Canadian offers, as genuine and as meaningful as they were, ran into a structural obstacle that reveals something important about how FIFA's tournament is actually organized. All 52 referees and 88 assistant referees at this World Cup are part of what the governing body calls Team 1, a single centralized officiating group managed from a training hub in Miami. Officials are not assigned separately by country. They are not deployed independently to Canadian matches or Mexican matches. The system requires every official to be physically present at the Miami hub to participate in the preparation program, the sessions, the security protocols before being assigned to any match anywhere in the tournament. Because Artan was denied entry to the United States, he cannot access the Miami hub. Because he cannot access the Miami hub, he cannot be part of Team 1. And because he cannot be part of Team 1, he cannot referee in Vancouver, regardless of what David Eby invites or what Olivia Chow writes in her letter to FIFA. That structural fact, the decision to centralize the entire officiating apparatus in the United States at a tournament that spans 3 countries, is one that FIFA made. It was a choice. There was no compelling reason why the training hub for a tri-hosted tournament needed to be exclusively in one of the 3 host countries. The organizers could have created a system that allowed officials to prepare in any of the 3 nations. They did not. And the consequence of not doing so is that when a host country turned away a FIFA-selected official, the Canadian offer, however genuine, however warmly meant, could not be honored within the tournament's own framework. That detail is not a minor administrative footnote. It is a measure of the gap between the governing body's stated commitment to the universality of this tournament and the structural decisions it made in organizing it. A tournament hosted by 3 countries, with officiating infrastructure entirely dependent on one of them. A referee selected from Somalia, sent home from Miami, welcomed by Canada, unable to reach Vancouver because FIFA built the system in a way that doesn't allow for that flexibility. UEFA understood what the moment required. Within hours of Artan landing in Mogadishu, the governing body of European football announced his appointment to the 2026 Super Cup final between Paris Saint-Germain and Aston Villa in Salzburg on the 12th of August. He will become the first African referee ever to lead a major UEFA final. UEFA's president said football is made to connect people. The CAF president personally thanked his friend Alexander Seferin by name in public for giving Artan the stage that the World Cup had denied him. The institutional response from European football was immediate, specific, and carried with it the weight of genuine conviction. When Artan landed in Mogadishu, thousands of people filled a stadium, not for a football match, for him. The president of Somalia called him personally. His country draped him in their flag, and he said, with a composure that spoke more clearly than any press statement, that what happened has happened, and it was fate. And he said quietly, "I promise you, God willing, that I will attend the next one." Those words, the forward-looking hope in them, the refusal to be defined by what was taken, they arrived in the same news cycle as FIFA's president's hot dog joke and his instruction to chill and relax. Both statements were heard. Both will be remembered. The contrast between them is the contrast between the institution that runs this tournament and the man it failed. Think about what the Canadian response represents in the full context of this tournament. The United States denied Artan entry. FIFA said it was not involved in immigration decisions. UEFA gave him the Super Cup. Canada invited him to Vancouver. The CAF president thanked Europe by name, and the Somali public filled a stadium to welcome him home. That is the full sequence of institutional responses to what happened at Miami Airport on the 6th of June. 4 different entities, all of them with different relationships to the tournament, different kinds of power, different institutional languages, expressing different versions of the same assessment. What happened was not right. The one voice that was conspicuously absent from that assessment was the voice of the governing body that selected him. FIFA said it was not involved. It said the host government determines who is admitted. It said his status would not be changed. And when asked directly about it, the president said people should chill and relax. What remains genuinely uncertain is what this episode changes about how FIFA manages its officiating infrastructure at future tournaments. Whether the centralization of the training hub in one host country at a tri-hosted World Cup will be reviewed. Whether the system will be built differently for 2030 and 2034 in ways that don't make the participation of every official contingent on the immigration decisions of a single government. Artan said he would be at the next World Cup, God willing. David Eby said, "Let's have him referee in Vancouver." Olivia Chow said she would write to FIFA. Merritt Stiles said he earned his place on the world stage. UEFA said football is made to connect people, and thousands of people in Mogadishu said, without words, just by being there, that what he built and what was taken from him were both real, and that they saw it, and they remembered. What do you think? You followed football through enough cycles to know the difference between a moment that passes and a moment that changes something. Does the Omar Artan story feel like the kind of moment that will genuinely alter how FIFA organizes its officiating structure at future tournaments? Or does it feel like the kind of story that generates coverage and concern and then gets absorbed into the institutional machinery without producing the changes that would prevent it from happening again? If you found this worth your time, a like helps more than you think. Subscribe if you enjoy thoughtful football coverage, and tell me in the comments what you think FIFA should have done differently. I read every one. This story is still developing, and as always, football never stays quiet for long. See you in the next one.